thought I was live. Hey guys! Sorry, there was a delay there in the 30-second countdown. Welcome to Texas Tuesday. Feel free to put some comments or questions in the comments section. So what we're going to talk about today is the 7 steps to narrowing down to 7 steps to moving to Texas, to finding a home. So there are so many things you have to do if you're moving from out of state or moving from out of the country, even moving from city to city to Texas. And so we want to help you do that. These are the 7 major steps you need to take. And again, if you want help in this, fill out the Dream Home questionnaire below and you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with one of our fantastic agents. But let's get started. So the first step to moving to Texas is really narrowing down which city, which major metropolitan area you would like to live in. And so in Texas, we have Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston, the Panhandle, El Paso, the Hill Country. Texas is so big. It's really crazy if you want to visit Austin and Dallas and Houston. See if you can narrow some of those things down first before driving here, because that's a lot of territory to cover. Now you're welcome to, check out Austin and then Dallas, but they are like a 3.5 hour drive apart. So with that, what are some ways in which we would narrow down a big city? So I would say like the job opportunity. Maybe you have a job offer somewhere, or maybe you're in a certain industry like the tech industry or medical industry where you want to find that major city. Any thoughts on that, guys?
I think that the climate can also play a big factor in narrowing down exactly what kind of city that you guys would want to live in, especially major city-wise. If you're looking at Houston, you are definitely going to have more of a summer feel. The humidity is a little bit more down there, but you are closer to the Gulf Coast, and it is beautiful. You have some beaches out there as well. So it depends on what kind of climate you're looking for. Over here up in Dallas, Fort Worth, you definitely get to feel all your seasons. So if you're like me and you just love getting that experience of summer, having a little bit of spring and fall, and really getting a feel of that winter season, especially around the holidays, I really enjoyed that. And Dallas Fort Worth definitely has
That's
that.
a good point. If you're afraid of flooding, Houston's has all the floods.
Yes.
Did you know that Houston has the most tornadoes?
Really?
Yeah, I just found that stat. I was recording a YouTube video, doing some research, and I was like, what? Harris County by Houston has the most tornadoes. Wow. So it's not Dallas-Fort Worth. Interesting.
I thought it was.
I did
that
too.
Makes Dallas-Fort Worth a little even better.
Yeah. So most people who move to Houston, they're moving there for job offers because there's such a huge job market there. But climate reasons, most people don't move there unless they want to be close to the beach.
And Texas beaches are nothing to brag about, in my opinion. Yeah, but if you're coming from California,
I still think it's the ocean. I like the ocean.
Yeah,
I like having just that environment. If you enjoy the sounds of waves crashing and just enjoy that feel of beach life where it's just a little bit more relaxed, I like Galveston because it feels like a small town.
Yes,
you have all these little mom and pop things, and I think what's really, really great about Texas beaches, one thing that is great about them is the fact that you can get those private beaches too. So you can literally drive. We drove our Jeep up to the water and we were just hanging out. We had a grill going. We were just enjoying ourselves. So that's something that I couldn't do on the East Coast beaches because they're all public.
Interesting.
And a lot of cruise ships take off down in Galveston too. So if you're a big vacationer and maybe you're looking for a retirement spot, that's a good place for you instead of having to make that haul every time.
That's a good point. I like cruises.
If you want a beach that has a swim up bar, the Bellagio in Forney is building their own beach. They have like this lagoon.
Yes.
So there's a beach in DFW too. Back to DFW. In Forney, Texas, the Bellagio should be built up, I think, by the next summer. And they're making their own beach. It's going to be huge. And there's going to be a swim up bar and a restaurant right above it. So
I just moved to Forney.
You don't have to worry about if the beach is clean or if there's sharks or anything in there because it's man-made. That works just the same. So,
Good point. All right, let's you had mentioned scenery. Anyway, we'll move on to step 2. So once you narrow it down to the major metropolitan area, then obviously you're going to narrow it down to the certain suburbs. If you don't want to live in a downtown area, then there's so many suburbs. Now I can say Dallas Fort Worth, when I've been all over Texas now and visited all the suburb cities, and I would say Dallas Fort Worth has the best suburbs to choose from without being in the city. There's so many, because there's so many that have great schools. But there's some great suburbs in Austin, some great suburbs in Houston, in San Antonio. But I think the more options are in Dallas Fort Worth, with some of those things hot buttons that many of you guys like. So all that being said, what are some things that they would want to consider when narrowing down a city? Thoughts?
Schools is number one. I think that's the biggest question that we get asked. And the most common question that we get asked is, where are the best schools? And I think that narrowing down based on schools can be a great way to narrow down which cities you want to live in.
Yeah, I think so too.
I would start with place of employment. So if you know where you're being transferred to already, but for example, in Dallas Fort Worth, if you're going to be working tech, you're probably going to be on the Dallas side versus Fort Worth. And even though DFW is one big metropolitan area, we kind of deciphered Dallas and Fort Worth into 2 different cities too. So when choosing a big city, it can be Dallas or Fort Worth, even though it's the same location geographically. But if you live in Fort Worth and you have to commute to Dallas every day, you're probably going to be going 45 minutes to an hour, trying to keep people within 30, maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah, we don't like commuting more than 45 minutes in Texas.
Yes.
Or at least in Dallas Fort Worth. I don't
Yeah.
know about Austin.
Yeah.
That's right, on a regular basis. Any thoughts, Julia?
No, I just, the schools, for sure is a big factor, but if that's not a factor, you've got so many choices here to choose from. And so it's a matter of, like with Frisco, a lot of people are hearing about, and want to move to Frisco, but they want a larger backyard. And so those two really don't go hand in hand anymore, so on new builds. And so, sadly, that's become a reality in some of these. They can't make more land, so they're in these communities. But we are seeing, when one community is built out, this next surrounding one is stepping up, and they're building out. And so, that's what we're here for, to help you navigate that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Which is a good segue, because this is probably the time. I mean, you can book a consultation anytime, but this is a really good time to book a one-on-one consultation with our agents. Fill out the Dream Home Questionnaire, because you want to have that consult before you do your discovery trip, because they can help give you some insight based on what you put in the Dream Home Questionnaire. That will give them an idea of what kind of feel you're looking in for a city, if schools are important or not. This is also the time at which you'll want to do your crime research. Now, as licensed real estate agents, they say we cannot give you crime statistics, so you do have to do that research on your own. But this is about the time that you want to pull the stats if that's important to you, which I don't know who it's not important to.
I will say, I do want to say one thing here though, and this was so interesting, because this came from one of my precious families that live 8,000 miles away, and they're buying a house from 8,000 miles away. She saw a crime stat that Frisco was like, that the crime rate had just skyrocketed in her community that she's building in. And I had to just kind of talk her off a ledge, because that was construction supplies in a new neighborhood that was being built. So, just navigate that lightly, with the crime statistics too,
Just figuring out what it is that's happening, because there are some people that target new home neighborhoods and they'll steal the appliances or copper or something like that. So yeah, that's the point. So keep that in mind to go, what are the crime stats for what? And you can find that online. So the third thing that we do is, I would say, so you've narrowed it down to a metropolitan. Now you've narrowed it down to some suburb cities. Really, you want to go then and plug in the price points, because maybe we want Frisco, but the price isn't comparable for our budget, whether it's too high or too low. You know what I mean? So regardless of area, you want to plug in your price points. You can go to mean, you can search on my website and go to Zillow, on all those places, plug in your price point to see what you can get for your money in those areas. And you want to do that before you come out here to Texas. So narrow it down by price point. Step 4 is take those cities then. Hopefully you've narrowed down some cities. So you've narrowed it down with your one-on-one consult with an agent. You've narrowed it down with price point. Then, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Then you want to come and take a visit. We call this a discovery trip. Okay, so you come and discover. What are some tips that you would say for the discovery trip? Would you guys recommend? Because you guys are talking with buyers all the time.
Drive around, take your time and get to know these areas on your own. While we would love to show y'all homes, we're more than happy to, but that's just going from one home to another. You're going to get to experience Texas and experience what everyday living is like. What a lot of our agents do like to do is give you guys itineraries, give you guys places to go visit, give you a step-by-step guide on where you should go, maybe some roads that you guys should take versus just the main highways, to really get to know some of these areas and take your time driving through, enjoy it with your family, and see how you guys blend in.
Yeah, and on that note, if you guys do need help in that regard, what are we coming out, Kevin?
We are working on a tour bus. So coming soon, starting in 2022, hopefully January is what we're planning for. We're going to be offering scheduled tour buses for you guys to be able to ride with us as a group tour, where we can show you some of those attractions in the main parts of the cities where a lot of our buyers end up looking in. That way it kind of helps narrow that down for you guys and give you some more education instead of aimlessly just driving around the whole entire big metroplex.
And now another thing too is, like, we do have a Keller Williams app that is amazing. I actually use it myself sometimes, and we can send you a link to that Keller Williams app. And so when you're on that discovery trip, and if you are like, oh, I love this community, I love, where you may have wandered into, you can launch this Keller Williams app, and it will show you open houses that are going on and homes that are for sale in the area.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So, that's a really, really good way too. And we will hook you up with that. That is, really something I do talk about during my Zoom calls with my clients, in our initial Zoom calls and everything. So, so that's a great tool.
I love that. So I use that too. When I go visit a new city, there are 2 things I do. I pull up the Keller Williams app and look at the price points in that area. I look at the open houses in that area. And I always visit the downtown area to get a feel for what the vibe is of the city. Okay, so that's what I do whenever I visit. You were going to say something?
Oh, I was actually going to bring up the downtown area as well. Because if you go to downtown Fort Worth, you kind of get a feel of what Fort Worth is like. Or if you go to downtown McKinney, visit actual, Frisco. Frisco, it has a higher price point. So if you want to if you like Frisco, maybe some of the areas outside of Frisco you might want to be in, and then downtown Dallas, visit Rockwall, or like the harbor if you want like Lake Life or Flower Mound. One thing I was going to say is, if you found a house that you like and the price point or the lot size and everything is really working for you, I think just put it on Google Maps and you can imagine what your life is going to be like. Because you could say, well, I'll go to a grocery store and it's 0.2 miles. Or how far is the elementary and the high school? Can my daughter or son bike to school or walk to school? And you can kind of map out what things will be like just looking on Google Maps, because Google Maps does pinpoint different locations. So I even saw there's a trampoline park right there. That's something fun to do. Or there's a you can see what else will be like on the map. The restaurants. Mm-hmm. You can see all the tons of restaurants that are going to be close by your house. There's tons of places.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Put the
the addresses of the homes that you're really leaning towards, put an offer in on, or put it in Google Maps and see what pops up as the places around you on Google Maps.
Yeah, you can see the commute time as well for where you're considering to where your employment is.
Here's one more amazing tip that I actually learned from a client, and this is how on discovery trips when they move to different areas, and they're a retired couple, so they have moved a lot in their life span, but they go into a McDonald's, into the community that they think that they're going to live in. And they sit and have lunch, and they just kind of observe, the
People
company.
watch.
They people watch. And so, that could go true with any, type of, like, even just a fast food restaurant or something like that. Just, pick a place in the city and sit down and have lunch and just kind of, make some observations. And so I just thought that was a great little tip.
Yeah, that's a
So,
great tip.
yeah.
It's a great tip. So the last couple of steps really is to really what we're talking about. Continue to familiarize when you go home. Continue to familiarize yourself online. Do as much research online as possible. I would say like if you're watching reviews or reading reviews, you can go back to your agent and say, what do you think about this review? Because we kind of have the feel for the different cities and what they feel like. And so we can kind of give you some good perspective. And then your final step is you can shop in person for your shopping trip or by video or both. Some people will come a second visit and shop in person. And then maybe we just can't find that perfect home. But you don't have to worry. Because now that you've been in that city a couple of times, when you go back, we can then shop by video. And so what our agents do is we'll just schedule a showing like normal, and we can set up FaceTime showing or a Zoom showing. It can be recorded so you can go back and look at it again. And what we talk with our agents on a regular basis is to give real feedback, not fluff feedback, because we don't want you coming into a home that you've never personally experienced and go, what? I didn't know that there's going to be, I don't know, scratches on the cabinets. That's kind of common, really. So we're always looking at the cabinets. We're looking at the ceilings, the walls to see if there's any water leaks, any odors. Yeah, that's something that you can't experience unless you're in person. And then we'll do our best to educate you, and whatever we see, we're going to share with you. And then, but disclaimer here, the inspector, it's really his job to go and inspect the property. And so we do heavily lean on that inspection report. But if we see it, we share it, right?
Yeah.
We do not want you being shocked when you come here in person. And so, yeah.
Just shopping for homes this past couple of days. We saw a lot on the MLS, and they looked really good in the photos. But it wasn't until you visually see
Yes.
it, and like Julia said, you smell it. You can smell maybe like water, mildew. We got catfished on a couple. So they get some that take really great photos, but
Yeah.
it'll take our eyes to kind of see. Okay, well, there's potential issues, or you don't see maybe the rodent traps or things like that. Those aren't in the picture. So we're looking for all of those things.
Yeah, that's very good.
Air conditioner age, water heaters, any foundation issues, exterior things like the pantry size that aren't in photos. So all of those things. I just got another buyer under contract. We've been looking for 3-4 months, and they were comfortable. They'd actually come into town 3 different times. They were looking for more of a unicorn property, but we finally found them what it is that they were looking for, and they knew that neighborhood. So they were more comfortable with going under contract on that home already with not having seen it in just a virtual tour. They were very familiar with the area since we had driven around that, and they'd actually been in the neighborhood too. So that's always helpful.
And are you guys getting option periods again?
Yes.
Yes.
Option
problem.
periods are back. So let me real quick tell you what an option period is. When you put in an offer on a home and we all agree to terms, okay, so we execute a contract. An option period is where you actually buy the right, you are buying time, buy the right to terminate the contract for any reason within this certain amount of time. What are the average days that you're putting in a contract right now? You're doing 5, Julia? 5?
I've gotten 7.
Ooh, she's gotten 7. So that's good news because that means the market has slowed down a hair. It's not like super slow, but it's like a good timing for putting in an offer right now. So basically, if you come feel the area out, even if you never did, put in an offer by video. I never recommend putting in an offer, just like Vanessa just said, I never recommend putting in an offer based on photos alone, ever. We always want a video tour with the live human being. So that is, but we have had great success with that. So all that being said, You like the video tour, you like the feedback from the agent, you put in an offer and we secure it. We put an option period of 5 days in. That means you have 5 days to hop on a plane, get out here and take a look at it. If for some reason you don't like it, terminate the contract, get your earnest money back. Your option money, how much is it costing? Two to 500?
$100 a day.
$100 a day. That's a good rule of thumb. It's negotiable, which is why you're hearing different amounts. So it could be anywhere from $200 up to $500, maybe more if you really like it. Also depends on the price point. Okay. So you'll lose your option money. You'll lose the amount of plane ticket and hotel. However, you're not stuck with the home and you can experience it in person. So that is a way that we can have you experience it firsthand. Okay, any final thoughts?
Hire an inspector during that time too, on,
Yes.
for sure, get an inspector in there. They work for you, you hire them, you pay for them. We can give you some recommendations, of course, because we know the people here and we can give you some recommendations, but you hire an inspector, they work for you. That inspection report is done immediately, and then we can negotiate repairs on your behalf. We work together to come up with the inspection repair. And then, there's 3 things for me, that are big, and it's the roof or the HVAC or the foundation.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 big ones. And those could be, possibilities of possibly backing out of a contract if it's just too much to, take on either side. It's a contract, so whatever on repair amendments, what we do, they can say no to everything, so you do have to realize that, like the sellers can say, we're not fixing anything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll let you.
Oh, no, okay.
Sorry, finish.
So the option period is, the purpose really for the option period is the inspection, that if something big comes up, you can terminate for that reason. We use it for many other reasons, but definitely hiring that inspector is super important. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to go through the questions, the comments that you guys have put in, and then I want to go over a couple of questionnaires just briefly, and then we'll let you go. So first off, the first question up here is from Jay, and he says, are there quality private home builders? I want to buy land and get a private home builder, not subdivision builders. So they want a custom builder. My guess is maybe not with a HOA or something like that. Do y'all know of some builders that build?
Absolutely. I am personally working with a custom home builder right now for a client, and they are Bedrock Homes. I really, really enjoy working with them. Jody and Brad have been amazing to work with. Their whole staff is very knowledgeable. They are great engineers. They build all different kinds of homes and all different price points. So depending on what you want, they don't just have one specific type of home that they build. You can really build anything that you want, and they will make it happen for you.
Yeah, very good. So we do have there are several
yeah,
builders that are
absolutely.
here.
Another one, yeah. And then there are Drees Custom Homes. They build on your land, and so does Our Country Homes. And they are a couple of builders too that that have housing additions they build in, but they build on your land as well. And
That's
I have
true.
a buyer right now that prefers to go that way because they've got a whole lot of options, and
It's not building a home is stressful.
Mhm.
Building a custom home is much more stressful.
Mhm.
Yes.
So if you chose a build on your own lot builder, then it's a little less stressful than complete from
Let's
scratch.
talk about some of the differences between that. So when you're doing a custom home, you're talking with the architect from a blank canvas, drawing up your exact home. If you've never built a home before, you might not think of some of the things. And you also may not have a designer in that process, where a typical home builder has some standard floor plans already that you can make adjustments to, be extending a bedroom out to make it the mother-in-law suite, adding the direct access from that garage to that room, and being able to alter the floor plans as well, where they already have a lot of the options, availability to change the cabinetries, the same color scheme and styles. Whereas if you're doing a complete custom build, it's going to take you about 4 months longer through that process of getting everything hand drawn, and with a little bit more expense, and then rolling on all into a construction loan and being able to compromise that into a mortgage at the end of the day. So just a couple
Yeah.
different opportunities as far as the process and the complications that come with that.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. Okay, we're going to move on to some of the other questions. Do you recommend applying for a job first in the city before moving? And I would say absolutely, unless if your current employer will send a letter provide a letter that they will allow you to work from home in Texas, then great. Shop away. But if your current employer will not allow that, or you don't want to let your current employer know you're moving, then yes, the recommendation is to apply for jobs first and get a job offer. When you have a job offer, the lender will consider that for a loan. So I do recommend, what I would recommend is get familiar with the different areas. And then if you find a city that you really like, yes, then go ahead and start applying in that city. Any quick thoughts on that?
Speak with a lender. Speak with your lender about what exactly you're going to need based on your previous pay history, based on your debt to income. A lot of things can vary. They do want to see that you're getting a new position in the same industry as your old
Yes,
position. That is
that's
something
true.
that does come up as a question often. And then also for leasing, if you are considering renting first, even for leases, a lot of landlords, a lot of apartment complexes, they are going to want to see some sort of income being generated. So they will want to see some sort of job that's already in place.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Very good.
I have an idea. One thing that you can do, and then double check with the lender, is buy the property as an investment property.
Whoa, it's
Move
almost
there.
like you're talking from experience.
Yeah. So you can buy the property. You just put 20 to 25% down, which is good because you won't have to pay mortgage insurance. But you can buy it and then keep your job where you are. Or if you don't want to kind of get a job first and you just can't wait to get here, put 20 to 25% down, whatever the lender requires as an investment property, and they won't have to say you have to work in Texas. You can, because it's investment property.
That's
you
a
can purchase
really
the
good
property
point.
and you still own the property, so you can,
Mhm.
move in or get it rented or don't get it rented, and just actually move in after you close. I don't know,
Yeah,
is that,
Let's talk
You
lenders
can
for a
do
sec,
that.
too.
yeah.
real brief.
But
Yeah,
you might want to
okay.
refinance after that because
Oh,
usually
yeah.
buying as investment property is usually
Higher
about a point
rates.
higher rate. So once you get everything settled and you do get that job out here, you probably would want to finance.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very true. That's true.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid when you're talking to lenders. I know a lot of people are concerned about having their credit scored pulled. You don't have to pull your credit just in order to talk to a lender. And having a realtor and a lender on your team is the best. We're not, think of us kind of like lawyers. We're definitely not lawyers, but just like you would have a consultation with a lawyer before you were going up against a trial or something, we're not going to share information that's going to hurt you in your situation, but we do need to know everything that's going on, all the money that you have, and every aspect of the transaction so that we can piece it together in the best way for your situation.
That's really good. That's really good. Okay, so let's talk. I just wanted to share a couple of these comments. Monica says, great observation tip. We tend to go into a Walmart or Target in grocery stores in the area. I like that. And she'd like to hear more about Denton schools and Denton areas. Any thoughts on Denton schools and areas?
Yes, Denton is a college town, and with everything, I've lived here for over 30 years, and so I am seeing a change happen in so many of the cities. And so, again, like when you're looking online at reports and you're looking at school ratings, I would not, completely believe what you're reading, because I think all of the towns are stepping it up. We have a lot of people moving to town. The property, a lot of these cities are getting more property taxes. They are putting money
Yeah.
into these schools. They are putting money into the cities. I'm seeing a lot of new in a lot of places. And I literally just was in Denton on Saturday. I drove through to video a home for a client. And I'm like, wow, this is all new. And it's up
Yeah.
in Denton. And I'm like, I didn't even know this. I mean, it was a whole shopping area. There was some wine styles. There was a Target and then Walmart across the street, Chick-fil-A, a brand new Starbucks. And I'm like, whoa, this is nice.
Yeah, Denton has
so-
definitely been stepping it up. From the locals that have lived here a long time, we didn't have them super high on the radar, but now, oh my gosh, like the downtown area. I was driving through going, what? This is Denton?
It's gorgeous.
We're really loving Denton now. Like it's kind of been a shocker for us since I hadn't been there in many years, but now it's been really good. For the schools, I can't remember, were they about the 30 percentile?
They're in like the high 30s, closer to the 40th percentile. I think that the schools are getting a little bit better.
Yeah, just like Julia said.
I have noticed that the infrastructure is leaning
Yes.
more towards the education side of things. So I do think that is changing up in Denton. I think Denton is a great city. So while it is a college town, I do like to emphasize that it's not just undergrad college, really.
Right.
There's a lot of master's and doctorate programs over there. So you find a lot of younger families as well.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of young families start out in Denton and kind of migrate east to Little Elm and then Frisco or Prosper. But yeah, but there are a lot of young families there. Chris says traffic patterns and noise levels, and that's a very good point, both on ground as well as in the air. So traffic patterns, get on Google and see what the traffic is like. We have noticed that traffic is getting busier now that more people are out and moving here, and but also for the jets for DFW Airport or some other airports like Alliance Airport in Fort Worth or Love Field in Dallas. So if the jet noise level bothers you, then you may not want to go to Coppell, Irving, Grapevine. Even South Lake has some low flying airplanes right now. But for me personally, I lived by Alliance Airport and I never noticed the jets. I mean, I'd be like, oh, there's a jet if I'm outside, but I had never noticed them until we started servicing clients and they were concerned about it. And I was like, oh, wait. Oh, they are loud. So yeah, it's like suddenly I hear them where I had become so accustomed to them as probably like a train, right? Where I had just never noticed the airplanes. They never bothered me. They still don't bother me, but anyway, so yeah, but if they do, then definitely check out those patterns. All right, so what we're gonna do now, I like what Marie says, definitely was sold on our area by the schools and the diversity for our children. Jobs came second since we had time to locate places to work. I like that. That's very good. Comics and Crosses says, I like your name. In our experience, timeline and availability of new homes was a huge factor. They can't seem to build them fast enough right now in the DFW area. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's real quick, because we are about out of time, but I want to go over a couple of dream home questionnaires. And you get to go first, Kevin.
All right. So we actually had quite a few dream home questionnaires come through these past couple of weeks, and a lot of them were catering more towards the northern Dallas area. So Frisco and surrounding cities like Plano, McKinney, Prosper, all kind of within the $400,000 to $600,000 range. So do know that there is still availability and options in those price points, but they are getting slimmer. So if you're looking to stay 500,000 or under in those cities, it might not be new build construction anymore. Some of it's going to be a little bit older. But if you do want the new build construction still, we just need to go out a little bit further. So definitely fill out the dream home questionnaire and we can help you with those newer neighborhoods and what we're looking like. But for the people looking for those top 5% school districts, you're going to hit Frisco ISD, Prosper ISD, and Salina ISD. Those are what's top rated right now. Instead of that, otherwise we're in Lovejoy ISD or ISD. Those are about the top 5% school districts that we have around here. A lot of people may think that they initially want top 5% school districts, and then after seeing the different homes that they like, they're more open to the top 20%.
And the top 20 are great schools.
Exactly.
They're really good.
It's very competitive.
Yeah. Okay, Vanessa, who do we have?
Well, they put they didn't want to. It has a no.
Oh, let's not share. Well,
Yeah.
just don't share their name.
Yeah, so I won't share their name, but they are looking for a home for next year, and the price range is $350,000. They are open to suburbs of Dallas and Fort Worth.
Okay.
They want a newer home, and they need about 3 to 4 bedrooms with a 2-car garage. So, and then their sports though, they like bike riding, so they like a lot of nature sports, fishing, hunting. So what I have in mind, and then they do want top 20% schools.
Okay.
So what I had in mind was, and they were interested in Salina, but I do think at 350,000 for what they want, they're going to be priced out of Salina. So I recommend maybe Justin. That might be good because they'll be close to like a lot of nature. And that has the Northwest ISD over there, so it's really good. Also Saginaw, which I don't think is quite top 20%, but I think it's like up
30%.
there, the top 30%.
30 percentile, yeah.
And I think Saginaw is close by, what's that, Eagle Mountain
Mountain
Lake. So
Uh-huh.
they have a lot of nature and it'll be great to bike ride over there. Good school districts, they can get more house for their money and we should be able to find something under
Yeah,
350.
I think so. Up at, is it North Star in
Yes.
Haslett?
Uh-huh.
North Star.
That's where I would recommend is North Star because you can get under, you're right there, but you get a brand new home under 350. It's close to Eagle Mountain, like literally 10 minutes to all your nature and good stuff
Yeah.
like that. Any other final thoughts on that one?
I would say if you guys are open, I was going to say Haslett, but if you guys are also open to the opposite side of the Metroplex, I think Forney, Heath, and Rockwall have a
Yes.
lot to offer.
Oh yeah, because there's a lake
Forney
over there.
has-
There's a lake
Absolutely.
over there. So many activities. I mean, the harbor is gorgeous. I think that a lot of people are drawn to lake life and they really do enjoy the environment there. I think it is very family oriented, very family friendly, and lots of things to do. So if you enjoy water activities, don't hesitate to ask about Rockwall, Heath, and Fee.
Okay, so we're just gonna go over the last comments real quick. Thanks, Monica. Monica's looking in Little Elm and other areas that are in Denton ISD. I really like Little Elm. I like it.
It's on the come up.
And it is actually precisely what Julia was talking about because so many families are moving in there. Those
Mhm.
school rankings, we believe, can't guarantee, but we believe those school rankings are going to be getting higher. And they're working with Katie.
So they're
So
about
Katie,
2 years old.
yeah,
School stats.
exactly. Yeah, the school stats are a couple years old. And then Daughter of the King says, will the revitalization in downtown Denton happen in Haslett eventually? I hope so. There seems to be lots of homes being built there, but not much else. That is a very true statement. I have looked at Haslett's plans for development, and they do have plans for the downtown area. When is that going to happen? I don't know. It just seems so nothing much going on. They do have a park there. I don't know when that's going to happen. If I'm going to speculate, I would say hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years because there's so much money moving in right now.
Mhm.
And it's kind of a flip of the coin where that city's going to go. Like, is that city going to be like one of the hot spots? I don't know. Is it not? I don't know. If they would redo that downtown area, I could very well see it being a hot spot. But right now it's a flip of the coin of where that city's headed. So those are the two sets.
One thing, I'm
Thoughts?
sorry, I had one thing to add, because this has come up actually a lot for me recently with a couple of buyers that are looking in the same area. Is Sandbrook Ranch has an Aubrey address, but it literally is on the edge of Aubrey. If you cross the street, you're going to be in Prosper. And so, they're
Oh,
not
yeah.
going to shop in Aubrey, they're going to shop in Prosper and McKinney because those two towns are closer, even though it has an Aubrey city. So just, know that too, if you're on discovery trips, like you could be on the outer edge of a city and you're literally going to, your restaurants, your shopping and everything else could be a bordering town. They all blend. We all.
Yeah, they do. We don't know where they begin and where they end.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And one final question. How is Waco pleased? Dolores. I have 2 cents on this and then we're going to close this up. Waco it's definitely a hot spot right now. A lot of people are moving in because of Fixer Upper, right? And they Chip and Joanna Gaines has transformed Waco. So it is so much fun to go, so much fun to visit. They have a river through there. It's beautiful. So I think it's in the up and up. What I don't like about Waco is the frickin' traffic. It's been a sore spot of mine for many years. Now, there's traffic everywhere. It just seems like it's taken forever for them to finish. Once they finish that traffic, which I have no idea when that's going to happen, I think Waco will be in the up and up. I do. It is cheaper down there, so you can get more home for your money and get some land. So I wouldn't hesitate moving there. I just want to forewarn you, traffic's a little crazy. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, team, for contributing, and keep posting comments, and we will see you next Tuesday. Have a great day.